Manifestation is something you can actually get better at. You can actually increase your ability to manifest what you want. See, most people think that when you get to a point in manifestation that you're really good, you've learned manifestation and that's it. But you got to realize that your manifestation abilities can actually go much deeper. You can become a better manifester. You can be a more effective manifester than you are right now if you learn these 3 ways to speed up your manifesting abilities. Now, of course, these aren't the only 3 ways, but these are 3 things that have personally worked in my life to allow me to manifest what I want in a much faster way in comparison to when I didn't have these 3 things. So I do encourage you to stick until the very end of this video, because I do believe that if you incorporate these 3 ways into your life, you'll become a better manifester and you'll be able to create your reality in a much faster way. So there's going to be 3 ways to speed up your manifesting abilities. So let's talk about it. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that notification bell, because I do post a new video every single day. Also, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally to see if you're a good fit for the coaching program, to let go of your ego and align with the vision that you really want to create for yourself, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. So let's talk about this. The first way to speed up your manifesting abilities is what a lot of people don't want to do, which is shadow work. It's the shadow work. If you want to create your reality, you have to be willing to let go of your shadow. See, the only thing stopping people from creating what they want is the shadow of where they are. Is the thoughts that they're attached to telling them that, oh, I can't go in this direction because because of these reasons. See, oh, I can't make $10,000 a month because here are the 50 stories why. I could share with you 50 different stories around why somebody can, there's like I can share with you 50 different stories that might come up in your reality when it comes to why you feel you can't create the money that you want. But see, I could investigate those individual stories and look at them one by one, which there's value in that, don't get me wrong. But I could also just tell you, hey, there's going to be stories. There's going to be thoughts that we attach. There's going to be fears. There's going to be anxieties. There's going to be worries that we attach to. And then guess what? That's the shadow. That's the shadow that we need to bring consciousness to. See, the shadow, what is the shadow? It's just the unconscious part of us that we are sucked into, that we believe that's who we are. That's the shadow. It's bringing consciousness to things that we think we are that we are not. That's the shadow. The shadow is another word for ego. So you could also call it ego work. It's removing the ego out of the equation. The more that you can cleanse your ego, the more you're going to be in a much better position to manifest what you want, because now you don't have the baggage of you thinking you're something that you're not, telling you why you can't create something, when the truth is it's just thoughts. It's just thoughts. Now don't get it wrong. Am I saying that the thoughts don't have a strong emotional charge to them? No. Sometimes it's not just a fleeting thought cloud. If there's a strong emotional energy that seems like reality, that doesn't seem like a limiting belief and an emotion, it's just that, no, Francis, no, actually that's the truth. You see, Francis, that's the objective truth. No. It's not the truth, it's your shadow. That's all it is. So the more that we can bring consciousness and detach from what we are not, that we think we are, in other words, the ego, that's what the ego is. All the ego is being sucked, having energy and consciousness and thought energy in the mind, identifying with the mind, believing that's who we are, when actually that's not who we are. That's what we need to detach from. Once we detach, by realizing that's what we are not, and then letting it go, because consciousness and awareness is what allows you to let go. Now what's happening is all that is the shadow work. And you see, the more that you do this, the more that you can release the old shadow, release the old self, the false self, remove the layers of the onion that are not you. This is when you're going to start to manifest quickly. See, I've had times where I didn't realize I was in the ego. It still happens to me sometimes, but I'm getting a lot better at grounding in who I actually am, who I really am beyond the stories. And the more that I ground in that space, the more I start to notice that things align for me in a much easier way. Does it mean that they're not comfortable? Does it mean that there's moments where does it mean that there's, like, sometimes I'm still uncomfortable? See, I'm not saying that I'm going to be comfortable, but it becomes easier. So does it mean that I'm always comfortable? No. But it becomes easier in the sense that I'm not resisting the shadow. I have a new relationship with my shadow. See, in the past, I used to have this negative relationship to my shadow, like, oh, I shouldn't be experiencing these emotions, this shouldn't be happening. And then I would just pull back into the shadow versus looking at it with my consciousness. See, and the more that I stop doing that and I start doing the shadow work, the more all the synchronicity starts to happen in my life, because I'm doing the inner work. And I'm not saying it to be arrogant. I'm saying that the more you do the inner work as well and join me on this journey of looking at our own shadows, which I'm on this journey just like you are, the more that all the things I desire start to come into my life in a much easier way. Not guaranteed, but I believe it speeds up the manifestation process based on what I've seen, the more that we can do the shadow work. So that is the first way to speed up your manifesting abilities, is, of course, if it hasn't become obvious yet, shadow work. So the second way to speed up your manifesting abilities is to focus on yourself. See, we often want to focus on the outside world. How can I do this? How can I get this person's approval? Now, I'm not saying that action's not necessary. From some relative perspective, yeah, what we want is out there in the world. From another perspective, I find that when I have too much energy out there and not enough energy on who I actually am as a creator, there's an imbalance in the universe. Now, it's not about being too lost out there, and it's also not about being too lost on the self. There's a balance here because we're all one and we're all connected. But what I will say though is that most people's issue is that they're not imbalanced in a way that they're too focused on themselves. By the way, am I talking about your false self? No. I'm talking about who you actually are as a creator. When I say self, I'm talking about self with a capital S. Who you really are. The more you can focus on yourself as a creator, this is exactly when you're going to start to manifest your reality, because now you literally start to become conscious of, oh, I'm looking for energy and consciousness and love out there in the world, when the whole time I was the source of it. I as the creator, not I as what you think. I think, oh, Francis, he's so arrogant. So much arrogance, saying he just focuses on himself. No, the more selfless you become, the more you're going to actually be able to be serving the world. If you can't focus on who you actually are, trust me, you're going to be very selfish. You're not going to be doing anything that's, I'm not going to say doing anything, but you're more inclined to do the work that the world needs when you understand that you need to focus on yourself. And guess what that does for manifestation? This speeds up your manifestation, because now you're actually focused on a higher consciousness value, a value of, I value my inner growth more than I value this thing in the external world. And the funny part is that you don't have to value that if you don't want to. By all means, if you value money over spiritual growth, then go after the money. But what's going to happen is that if you want to manifest the money in the fastest way, it might require you to focus on yourself a little bit and do some inner work. Not always. This is what I'm saying though. If you want to speed up your manifesting abilities, I find that focusing on myself allows this to happen in a very powerful way. And this is the thing that a lot of people don't want to do. They want the 15-second how do I manifest tomorrow method. They don't want the do the inner work method. And the inner work is not always easy. It requires of us to focus on ourselves a little bit, do the meditations, eat the healthier foods, do what we need, what we all know we have to do. But it's funny because the moment you start doing that, it's like, oh, you feel that love, you feel that consciousness in your system, and you're so focused on yourself. And by the time you start to feel that bliss and love in your body, this has been my experience. I can't tell you how many times I was focused on myself, focused on raising my consciousness, focused on doing the inner work. I completely forget about the manifestation, and then it pops up into my life. Or I still need to take action on what I have to do. And while I'm doing that, I have a groundedness in my center. I haven't forgotten who I am. I haven't lost myself, my actual self, in the external world. See, I still go after what I want with an awareness of who I actually am. I believe that is the recipe, literally, for anything you want. Groundedness in the self plus action towards what you want. This is the recipe for detached action. And detached action is exactly what you need to create your reality. And how do you become the person that takes detached action, you focus on yourself with a capital S, who you actually are. And so the third way to speed up your manifesting abilities is to step into the unknown. See, what is manifestation? Manifestation is creating something new, right? You're creating something new. You're manifesting something. I could go from the universal perspective and say that you're not creating anything. You're shifting into something that already exists in the universal field of consciousness. Nonetheless, though, let's just go with the relative human perspective for a second here, that you're creating something new, although you are just energetically aligning with something that already exists in the universal field of infinite consciousness. But that's another story for another time. Let's just go with the relative perspective for a second here, and go with the premise that you're just a human separate from all that is, creating something new. Let's just go with that ridiculous story for a second. It's funny because Francis, the outlandish story is the universal field of consciousness. Though I could say it's more outlandish that we're just limited meat bags. That's probably more outlandish. But you know what? We'll save that for another time. It is pretty outlandish as well that everything is infinite. But the truth is that, so you're creating something new, right? You're creating something. Went on a huge tangent there. You're creating something new, and if you're creating something new, how can you create something new in what you already know, in your comfort zone? See, that's not possible. If you truly want to create or align with that reality that already exists in the universal field of consciousness, it's going to require of you to step into the unknown. Why is this the case? Because you have to release the old self. You have to release the old self. You have to let go. And sometimes, I'm not saying that you have to go so into the unknown that it's traumatizing. You want to take it, you want to take a smart approach to this and go at a rate that actually, quote unquote, feels good to you, which is, when I say feel good, I'm just saying feel as good as possible within the premise that you're jumping into what doesn't always feel good, right? But this is the truth, is that when you're stepping into the unknown, that's where the magic happens. The places that it's like, oh God, I don't know if I want to go there. That's a little bit scary. I don't know what's happening there. See, that's where your manifestation exists. I can't tell you how backwards everything I have ever manifested was. It's just like shadow work. It's just like shadow work. And you hear this all the time. The things that people are afraid to do are the things that sometimes we need to go in to manifest what we want. Happens to me all the time. I used to be scared to say things to people, like in coaching calls, for example, or scared to say something in a video. And when I started being more bold to say those things that I was scared to say, that's when I started to get more success in my business. That's when I started to get more videos popping on YouTube. When I step into the unknown, when I start to step into that space of like, ooh, that scares my mind a little bit. I don't know if I should go in that direction. See, that's exactly where you want to go when it comes to a discussion of how to speed up your manifesting abilities. You want to speed up your manifesting abilities? Be bold and step into the unknown. Be bold and step into something scary. Not so scary that you're going to go into your trauma, but just, it's what you call, it's what one of my mentors calls eustress. See, there's bad stress, which is too much stress, and then there's eustress, which is like, oh, this is exciting to me, but it's also a little bit scary. You're like right in that middle way. That's exactly where you want to be when it comes to creating your reality, is you want to be right there in the middle. You want to be right in the middle of like, ooh, that's scary, but I can handle it. I can handle it. See, you want to be bold, go into a little bit of the panic zone too, but believe me, not everybody can handle that much unknown. So jump right into the unknown. It's so scary, but it's not so, it's scary, but it's not so scary that you're going to lose who you are in it. See, this is the most important thing, is to stay grounded in who you actually are. Stay grounded in your center. Know the truth of who you are, and then step into the unknown while you hold that groundedness. Because if you lose yourself in that unknown, oh man, that's not going to be pretty. That's going to be way too scary. And it might even have a counterproductive effect where you don't manifest what you want. Not only do you not manifest it faster, you slow it down because you've pushed yourself too hard. So this is how you manifest quicker. is you start to step into the unknown. Seriously, can't tell you, dropping out of school, I had to jump into the unknown. That was something that allowed me to manifest my YouTube channel and my coaching business. When it came to investing in my mentor, because I had to drop out of school, I was like, oh crap, I need to invest in a mentor. That was scary to me, that was unknown. When it came to moving to a new place around 6 months ago, wow, that was scary. I had to jump into a new environment, jump into the unknown, that was scary. Even now, there's some of the things going on in my life that it's like every time I get comfortable, the universe is like, hey, actually, it's time for you to step into the unknown again, Francis. And see, whenever that happens to me, whenever I'm called to jump into the unknown, I know exactly what's going on now. The universe is basically saying, get ready for the next level of manifestation. That's what's going on here. And guess what's funny is that most people don't want to take that jump, and guess what happens? They don't manifest what they want. Every single person you've seen with a manifestation success story tell me that they were in their comfort zone. Not always. When it comes to people creating huge businesses, huge successful things in their life, they always have some story of trusting themselves, having faith in the universe, and being unknown. And that is not a coincidence. That's exactly right, because all the magic happens in the unknown. So step into the unknown, and I say that you'll most likely manifest what you want way faster. At least that's been my experience. So test it out and let me know in the comments down below if you test any of these ways and if it works for you, because I would love to hear your stories. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this video, and feel free to leave a comment down below. So that's all I have for this video. Once again, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally to let go of your ego and align with your vision and what you want to truly create from the heart, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. So that's all I have for this video. As always, have yourself a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.